Welcome back to another episode of Legion of Noobz. I'm one of your hosts, Albert. Alongside me today is David, and today we're going to review the new Spider-Man Homecoming movie. Alright, let's begin. David, without spoiling the movie, what do you rate it, and do you recommend screen it, skip it, or stream?
I'm going to do that backwards, and I'm going to say definitely screen it. This video is a little bit late, and as you can tell, it's just us two. So, a lot of you have probably already seen it, but if you haven't, I definitely recommend seeing it in theaters. I don't recommend getting 3D. I don't think it has that many 3D
Yeah, I
scenes.
don't think it did.
Yeah. So but they were showing it in 3D. So
Yeah, but
I wouldn't recommend getting it in 3D because that's just another way to get extra $5 off your ticket. For the movie theaters to do that. So, I recommend screening it. I would give it a solid 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. Albert?
I recommend you screen it as well. Not screen it because it's a new Spider-Man film or anything, but Marvel always has the visual effects. But my rating's a little bit lower than David's. I give it a 7.5. I mean, for an origin story, there's only so much you can do. But I would have liked to see a little bit more detail. Maybe some other things that were missing in the movie.
It's like a sort of an origin story.
Yeah, it's an origin story that
doesn't have his
exactly without the
power, how they became a superhero.
how he got his powers exactly.
Yeah, but it is an introduction to the character, a new reintroduction to the character, so that makes sense.
So now we're gonna spoil the movie. If you haven't watched it, we recommend checking out one of our other videos. If you would like to stick around and hear what we got to say, we're gonna spoil it now. All right, David, what do you think of the plot?
I thought it was good. The only issue I had with it, which I think we've talked about in one of our videos before, is just that I already knew the plot going in because of the trailer. Pretty much the entire plot was revealed in the trailer. It's like I go into the movie knowing that he's going to be fighting pretty much Vulture the whole movie, that he's going to fail the first few times, that he's going to get his suit taken away, that he's going to that he's going to have to fight to get it back, and that he gets it back because again to show him with the suit as well. So I would have liked not having known all those details just going into the movie. So yeah, it's a serviceable plot, like Albert said. You are very restrained when you're introducing a character because you have to do a lot of character building, and that means less action and less scenes. That make the Avengers, for example, they did a pretty good job of introducing the Avengers while also having a good mesh of the interactions between them and having them come together. So they are limited, and I understand that, and so I did enjoy it, but I wasn't blown away as a lot of people were, giving it 9s and 10s, but it was still very solid. Albert?
For me, the plot was dragged a little bit on towards the second and third act, but I felt like they were giving a lot of screen time to the sidekick character Ned. A lot of comedic relief into this. I mean, I understand it's directed more towards the younger audience, teenagers, tweeners, we like to call them. There's some of the story where I think they introduced his mechanical suit too soon, versus him learning the suit he used in Civil War, and it just seemed kind of rushed.
I think they probably had to introduce. I think I agree with you that if I didn't understand why they were doing it, I would have thought that they introduced the mechanical suit too early.
Yeah. But
I think because they're gonna he's not going to get enough screen time on Infinity War 1,
exactly, yeah.
That they just kind of have to be fast forward him because they only have one movie to get him to Infinity War. Everyone else has had 2 or 3 movies. He gets one and he's in Infinity War, so I think that's kind of why they had to rush that. But I agree.
And then I don't know how that's going to work in the future.
It's just gonna. I don't really understand how it's going to work with the Carnage and Venom.
Oh, Carnage and Venom.
Yeah. So I don't understand. Because they're not going to be in the Marvel universe, they said.
Exactly.
But is Spider-Man going to be in their universe? And if so, is it going to be the same Spider-Man?
Well, I mean, the way I think of it, it's like X-Men and Logan movies. It's,
But they're both...
They have their own universes and
yeah. So I understand...
Pretty sure they're not going to,
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Are they going to have Spider-Man in both?
I doubt it.
They didn't buy the rights. Marvel didn't... they just did a certain number of picture deals. So,
okay.
and then Sony gets money off of this movie.
Yeah.
So that was the deal. Is they get Spider-Man on loan for a few movies, but Sony's doing their own universe now. They announced with Venom and Carnage. So that's why I'm curious about how that's gonna work, because Tom Holland and Spider-Man are still their character.
Yeah.
Marvel just gets to play with it.
Or maybe they're just gonna come up with their own origin story of how Venom came to be.
Yeah, no, I can see them. That's what I'm saying. That would make sense if they just do standalone Venom and Carnage movies. But if Spider-Man's in there, that's gonna be weird to have him on two different universes.
We'll see. We'll see what happens. What do you think of the cast?
Decent. There wasn't anyone that stood out. I mean, they had that scene with the whole MJ thing, but and reading about it now, she's not gonna be Mary Jane. Because when we first watched the movie, we were like, what the heck? Like, they're really getting rid of her as that character, but that's good that they're not. They're just kind of being trolls, I guess. Her character could have been gone and no one would have noticed. Like, she didn't serve any purpose other than to be funny. But she was fine. She was good. I don't know where she's from or what she's done before, but
She was on the Disney Channel.
Oh, gotcha. That makes sense. Ned was okay. Like the guy that played him did a good job of playing the character that they gave him. I'm separating that from the actual characters itself. So the actors are doing fine. There's no one that stood out that was bad. Michael Keaton was really good. That's one thing that I would say is, Marvel movies usually have a villain problem. Same thing, DC movies, they do have it too. But in this movie, he actually was a pretty good villain. What about you? What did you think of the cast?
For my cast, really enjoyed Michael Keaton. Seeing him suit up. His origin towards why he's doing what he did, it's like, I would have done the same thing.
Yeah, it made sense.
Like,
exactly.
Right,
That's
cool.
what I'm saying. You can relate to the villain.
Exactly. I didn't care for Flash Thompson. I felt like he was...
Oh, he was terrible.
Yeah,
So
from
annoying.
what I know, he's always been a bully and always picking Parker around and stuff like that.
He's supposed to be a jock. He's supposed to be that football player with Letterman's jacket.
Exactly. And they made him a big ass nerd, a rich, daddy's boy, rich boy.
Annoying, like.
Yeah.
If you saw him, like, when you look at him, you're like, why would you have any friends?
Exactly. Because he's rich.
Because he's really annoying. Whereas Flash Thompson's supposed to be good looking and tall and popular because he's a good sport. He's a good he's a jock.
Yeah.
And he is a dick in the movie, but no, I did not like him either. I forgot to mention that.
The one that got the more screen time that I could have done without was probably Ned. A typical high school kid. Throwing sex jokes and stuff like that in there. Nerd jokes. It's like, all right, it seemed when they was trying to force that laugh in there, but I was like, Half the time I didn't understand his dialogue. I know I mumble a lot, but like Tom Holland and the Ned character, I didn't understand their dialogue when they're talking back and forth. I was like, really? I feel like I was like an old man. Like, I was hard of hearing because I was like, what the hell are they saying? Like, I need subtitles. I actually prefer Andrew Garfield over Tom. But I mean, for his looks and appearance, he sold it. But for like his acting wise, like, even though he's from England and Andrew Garfield is from England as well,
they're both.
I understood Andrew Garfield a hell of a lot more than Tom, and Andrew had more like a swag.
Yeah, I don't think he's too good looking to be nerdy.
No, well, that's what I mean. He had like that swag going on. Like if I can get like both of them into one person, that would have been awesome.
No, for my pros and cons for the movie, special effects were good. It was good that they limited the amount of how much Iron Man got, because in the trailer it made it seem like he was.
Made it seem like he was gonna make the movie.
He was gonna be as big, as much in the movie as Spider-Man, but thankfully, pretty much all the parts in the trailer are the parts that he's in, except for the last part.
Yeah. He's more like a mentor than anything else in the movie, and like he let him do his own things. All right, do what you want to do, but to a certain extent.
Yeah, so that's a pro for me, is that they didn't include him as much as I was worried that they would. I like Tom Holland. I think he's a good choice for Spider-Man. I didn't mind Andrew Garfield, but I think these movies are going to be better than those movies, because the Marvel Universe has access to. Yeah, and they just have access to a lot more characters and things, that more interesting things than just Sony does with the characters that they own. Another con is, this again, I'm not sure I can blame the movie for this one either, but there's just that the movie, we saw it maybe, what, was it 2 days after opening?
Yeah.
But by that time, a lot of people that I know had already seen it, and it kind of got overhyped for me, so my expectations were too high, and I think this movie is good, it's great, and I think but I think I would have liked it more if my expectations hadn't been set so high. It's just the hype. It's not just that people said it was really good. Some people were just like, it's the best Spider-Man movie ever made.
Oh yeah, that's what hyped it up for me. Like
it's just
like,
people
oh, go watch it. It's the best Spider-Man up to date. And
yeah.
I'm like, well, I mean, it's either Toby or this new guy. And like everybody I talked to is like they have no recollection of Andrew Garfield playing Spider-Man, or they just wish to ignore it. But
yeah.
To me,
I don't know. It's the best Spider-Man movie ever made. It's
up there,
yeah,
but
it's top 3.
But like we said earlier, it's an origin story, and it's like, all right, wait for the second one. The sequels are usually the better one out of the 3, but who knows how many they're gonna make out of these?
Except for the Andrew Garfield one, the second one was.
Oh yeah, that was terrible. Well, I mean, it's because they're building up to the
But the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man 2 was good.
Yeah,
it's very good actually. A lot of people actually, it's their favorite Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
What about you, Albert? What are your pros and cons?
One of the pros that I actually liked was, it's like, does Spider-Man run out of web? If he's like nowhere near buildings or like trees, does he web sling? And they proved it on this when he was like the scene where he's actually running through the whole neighborhood, demolishing things left and right. And it's like the part where he's like running through a golf course, is like web. It was hilarious. It was like, that part got me. Another pro was the twist, like we said earlier. It just really came out of nowhere, unexpectedly. We heard Michael Keaton talk about his family, but throughout the movie, you never saw his family. The weapons looked pretty cool. The visuals made it seem that much better. One of the cons for me was the running time. The runtime, it seemed really long. They could have done so much, like, less.
Wasn't Wonder Woman longer?
I have no idea.
I think Wonder Woman was longer.
I might be the same amount of time. But like, there's a couple scenes where they could have done without, like the part where he gets locked into the warehouse. When he was like chasing the vulture, how he ended up in there in the first place. He was messing with the web, and it was trying to be funny with them like shooting like those electrical webs and stuff. It's like, all right, cool. It was a nice little chuckle. But then once they like brought that to a whole like 5 to 10 minute scene where him like, oh, how long have we been in here? It's like, oh, 30 minutes. What? 30 minutes?
No, that was dumb.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, this is like taking too long.
They wanted to make you feel like how he felt.
Yeah, and I was like, all right, damn. Like, all right, could have done without it. Oh, the main, I guess, boss fight. You don't really see a fight. They're just like in the air, like falling, and just kind of like, I don't know, Vulture was trying to steal Stark's technology. I didn't see any action apart from him trying to save him from his own destruction when like his suit was gonna blow up, and he just like pulled him out of the way, and I was like, that was it. Like, I didn't really see anybody like him taking swings at anything other than him shooting webs on the, what was it, like a ferry? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was like, that was the only action we got. Could have done more. Your final thought?
Final thoughts. This is kind of a spoiler if you haven't seen or heard anything about Infinity War. But so if you haven't, you don't want to hear anything about it, feel free to skip ahead 20 seconds. But I think I think the fact that they introduced Spidey sense, and they're going to be having it prominently in Infinity War, they kind of should have, kind of at least shown it in this movie, which they didn't.
Oh, that was like one of the cool things too, like how the eyes were moving. Mm-hmm. They showed his like point of view. I thought that was pretty cool too.
Yeah.
But I kind of confused that with Spider Sense, but then I was like, no, I think that's just his eyes trying to focus.
Yeah, because he said he gets a lot of sensory overload. But yeah, it's just Spidey Sense is just supposed to be like imminent danger, kind of like just hyper alertness, I guess. And we saw some of that, like people swinging at him from behind, kind of thing. But
yeah,
but
they didn't really play it.
They didn't highlight it or anything. I guess it is gonna be. They did highlight it with the in the footage they showed at D23, and probably what they're gonna show here at Comic-Con this weekend. So I just hope that doesn't that they do it right, and I'm looking forward to hopefully finding out what happened between this movie and Infinity War, because I guess he wears the suit that he turned down at the end of the movie in Infinity War, so I'd like to see what happened there. I guess that's not really a final thought about the movie, but I enjoyed it. It was
like
good.
A final wish, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of like what I wish, and kind of what I'm looking forward to now that they've gotten the introductory movie, the origin movie out of the way. Albert?
For my final thought, I have two of them. I gotta remember the second one. Yeah, I'm wondering how they're gonna bring Pepper Potts into this, with the whole Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man character proposing to her because Spider-Man turned down the role of him joining the Avengers, and then it's gonna make a big deal. Maybe they're gonna bring that into like an Iron Man 4. Curious to see who the new villain's gonna be. There's only so many villains for Iron Man that I know of. Two of them being Whiplash, Ultron, and of course the Mandarin, one of his main villains. And I'm just like wondering if they're gonna go in that direction again with the Mandarin and maybe actually show the Mandarin.
I don't think they're gonna make it. Right now they have announced another Iron Man movie.
No, I know, but I'm just saying like how they can maybe
he doesn't
do
want
it.
to do any full movies anymore. He's supposed to do just to participate in the the Avengers stuff.
Okay. Well, but I mean, like if ever comes to it, like they can do the Mandarin with the rings of power, maybe the gauntlet with Thanos, or even they can do like a MODOK. I'd like to see that. I mean, with the CGI we have nowadays, it can get a lot better than Doomsday. Sorry.
Oh yeah. Oh man.
Like they could have done so much better with that. And to me, I think Marvel's more visual, like what they did with Ultron, even though I didn't like that movie, but I thought Ultron looked pretty cool. But yeah,
Doctor Strange's visuals.
Doctor Strange's visuals were really good. Wish I would have taken some drugs while I watched it. It was like so psychedelic. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I'd like to see maybe Marvel get a couple rights to like X-Men movies. I'd like to see them get rebooted. Or maybe they can do like a X-Men versus Avengers.
That's like the dream.
Yeah,
Get it all Marvel under one, movies to get them all under the same universe.
Yeah.
There's so many characters from those different branches, comic books.
But yeah, well that's it for us. If you want to see our other content, feel free to check out our other videos. Today it was just us two because we were the only ones that wanted to do the Spider-Man movie rant. And until next time, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And yeah.